Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're in the right place at the right time. Today is Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I tell you, we're going to have a very interesting show. You know, I always say that because it's always interesting. I've got my good friend and brother coming to join us today, Mr. Syron Smith. I'm so excited to get the update on what's going on in his world. That's a hard working brother there, boy. I tell you, he do not be playing around. He is all over the place doing what he do. So without further ado, let's get the announcements out the way so we can get to him so we can hear everything that he has to say. The first thing I want to do is give a shout out to all of the healthcare professionals that are been on the front line, keeping our loved ones healthy and safe. They have been dealing with this pandemic from day one, and they are still dealing with it because it ain't over with, folks. You know, I know they tell y'all you can still walk around with optional masks. I'm telling you, wear your mask. Don't fall for the rope a dope. Keep wearing your mask. Keep your distance. Stay away from folks as much as possible. Okay. Also, like to give a shout out to all of the spiritual leaders that are on the front line, the ones that help keep us spiritually uplifted. And they're the ones that go in prayer and seek the face of God to keep us aware of what's going on so that we know what to do because we're hearing it from a reliable source, from someone that's getting it directly from God. And a special shout out to my mentor, Dr. Hunt. Dr. Hunt has been with me for over 30 years. And I promise you that has not been an easy job. Being with me for 30 years as a spiritual leader, man, he had his hands filled, okay? But by the grace of God, he has been with me and he's been keeping me encouraged. And I always pray for him and keep him uplifted. All right, I want to jump over here and invite everybody to go over to my website, ask-dr-ron.com. When you get over there, you'll find several advertisers. They help make it possible for us to do what we do here on the Ask Dr. Ron show. We got RRJ Webb, we got Sir Synergy, we got Port Again Sam, and Prince Hunter Financial Group. As you browse the website, all you have to do is just click on any one of the banners or the flyers. It'll take you directly to their website so that you can find out more information about what they are doing with their company. I want to emphasize Sir Synergy. Sir Synergy has been with me for a while now, and they are helping people find energy efficient ways to make their home energy efficient. Now, that's a common thing that everybody's doing now, and you might want to reach out to them and talk to them about them coming out, evaluating your home to find out what you can do. Definitely check out Port Again Sam. He's always got brand new spirits and wines in town from all over the world. Call him up. Tell him you want a wine tasting. You definitely want to check out what he's got going on. Also, Prince Hunter Financial Group. You definitely want to reach out to them. They're giving out 4 free lessons on how to trade the Forex market or how to trade the stock market. There are millionaires made every day on the stock market and or the Forex market. So you want to learn how to do those things so that you can be in that income producing bracket. Reach out to Prince Hunter Financial Group and tell them that you want your 4 free lessons so that you'll know what you can do to help make some money. Okay? All right. So now, like I've said at the top of the show, Syron has been on the show many times before. And I tell you, every time he comes, he brings us fresh manna or fresh information, and he constantly is the man that's on the ground keeping me informed on what's going on around the community and around the world. So, without further ado, welcome back to the show, Syron.
Hey, it's always an honor and a pleasure, Dr. Ron, to be on with you,
Well,
man.
thank you, man, for taking time out of your busy schedule. And for those that don't know, Syron and National Block Club University. Now, I've had the privilege and the honor of hanging out with him for about 10, 15 years now, maybe a little bit more. But the National Block Club University is a block by block, you know, experience. I guess is the best way to explain it, where people take control of their neighborhoods and begin to take back what um, I guess you could say the enemy has taken from them. So if you live on a block, it's very important to you to be able to feel safe, to make sure your children are safe, your grandchildren are safe. And his organization works with you to help get that community back to a village again. And I applaud you every chance I get because that's not an easy job to do. No matter where the block is at, across the country or around the world. And I say around the world because you've been working with people internationally. And I tell you, man, well, what's the latest update? Because I can talk about you forever. So, what's the latest update, brother?
Well, thank you for the introduction. And I think for those who may not know as much, we have Chicago, the third largest city in America, as our headquarters, our global headquarters. And of course, we focus on the Black experience. There's 20 Black zip codes in Chicago, and those zip codes are linked to 20 African countries, 20 US cities, and 20 different career fields. So, with those linkages, it puts us in a pretty strong position to coordinate and unify and deal with issues that pertain to us being number one safe. We track the violence. I'm sitting here looking at the man shot and killed in front of his house on the 1000 block of North Springfield. You got on 85th and Ingleside, the woman beat to death. This Chicago, this in the last, 4 or 5 days. And so we track that all over the nation, and then we respond. And the way we respond is on that block. Who do we know on that block or in that zip code so that we can bring them into an access point so that they can make life better for the people in their neighborhood. All over this nation, Dr. Ron, they're talking about what can be done to make the streets safer with all the carjackings and things of that nature. And we consider ourselves at the top when it comes to what it's going to take to turn that around. And the sad thing about it, we're not even barking up the right tree
Mm,
nationwide when it comes to
mm.
this. Like the tree is on the right, we over there in the left tree, so we can't even really begin to have real impact. uh, Municipalities, I should say, we're going to have impact on our end, but municipalities can't have impact because they're not even in the ballpark. And that's what's really, really unfortunate, because all of our tax dollars are going, unfortunately, into the wrong basket for us to see the real safe America that we could see when we do what we're talking about
Yeah, and it's so true. Just today they graduated another class from the Chicago Police Department with the emphasis on trying to get more people of color on the department to try and help deal with some of the unbalanced and discriminatory practices that they have. Now, who's to say that these black people ain't gonna act like what they've been taught to act when they get out there on them streets? Beat up all the black people, shoot them when they start running away. Did I say that out loud? Did I say that out loud? Yeah, I did, didn't I?
and keep it in 100.
Yeah,
We see the action. You didn't do it, they
yeah,
did it. So,
exactly, exactly. And but that's what they teach them to do. The senior members of the academy and all of these things when they team them up with somebody. Now you got to forget what your skin color is. If you see somebody black, he did it. And if you're dealing with a police force with that type of mentality, then you're going to run into, all sorts of insecurities and all sorts of problems in our communities because they perpetuate that. They don't give us a chance
But
to get away from that. Go ahead, bro.
but Dr. Ron, think about it. When people say the school system is wrong, the police system is wrong, no, no, it's not wrong. It's perfect. It's doing what it was designed to do. How did police start? Police was slave patrol. It was designed to get black people, make sure they're not running away. It was reinforced 40 years later with the fugitive getting white people who was helping black people. So the police, that's their purpose. Now they've tried to, put lipstick on the pig, but the bottom line was it was designed in its origin about black people. And so what I always tell people, we've been fighting, from our existence. We've been fighting. But what have we built? Honestly, what have we built? If you can go to the 50s, the 60s, we're fighting for civil rights. They gave it to us. Then the 70s, we fought for enforcement of the civil rights, so it wasn't just a law on the books. Then in the 80s, we fought the Reagan war on drugs. Then in the 90s, we fought the Clinton 25 years to life, 3 strikes you're out. In the 2000s, we fought for schools and education. Then in 2010, we fought the school closings all over the nation. What have we built, Dr. Ron? Like,
Well,
what have
now,
we built?
now,
Like, we've been fighting. What have we
now,
built?
now, let me say this. I have had the honor and the privilege to live long enough to see in the 60s that we used to have a prosperous community. In the city
Mm-hmm.
of Chicago, the Nation of Islam used to have grocery stores, restaurants, clothing stores. They showed that we can do business with one another and prosper doing it. And unfortunately, over decades of time, the nation came under attack, as well as all other major, meccas in Chicago, 47th Street, 79th Street, 63rd Street. We used to have enterprise areas. So even
Mm-hmm.
though we may not have been manufacturing, we created and was
Right.
prospering with spending the American dollar with one another. Okay.
And Dr. Ron, did we create that, Dr. Ron, or was it forced?
Well, I think that we took an example of what Black Wall Street was,
Mm-hmm.
in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we saw, what they didn't want for us to do, and we duplicated it in major cities. Like, it was done everywhere, all over the place. So when you said make, we understood how important it was for us to be able to support one another, just like every other nationality. The Jews do
Mm-hmm.
it, the Greeks do it, the Asians do it. They support one another. Like if you're looking for a car, you're gonna before you go any place else, you're gonna go to whatever your nationality dealership,
Makes sense.
and support. Now I know that just happens to be one of your days of the week as your plan to help bring about prosperity for us is part of your plan, and it works because the more we support one another and we keep our dollars circulating in our community, it can create wealth in our community. But I'm not trying to tell your plan. You tell your plan.
What I was now, what I just wanted to clarify what I meant by force, because I do think we're at a key point as Black people in the world. Um, what I meant by force was the minute integration came and the laws was changed where Blacks could move out, those certain Blacks got the heck away from the other Blacks. It wasn't a strategy where we're going to step outside, move with the affluent, and reach back and build up or reach back and pull you out. It was just a tie sever. And so we saw in Gary, Atlanta, all over Black urban centers, like the Black elite got the heck away from the Black rest of us. And I think we've been suffering ever since then. So I always tell people it's like a man with a woman and she's taking care of him, so he with her. But as soon as he come up, he out of there. So what he really was doing was just buying his time, if you will. And I just wonder if the elite blacks that was amongst us who carried the neighborhood, if they was just waiting to get the heck away from us, because I just can't understand how that tie was severed so quickly from all that was built up when the laws didn't let us integrate with them. So that's what I meant by that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, sometimes we buy the hype. You know, sometimes we believe that we have not successfully made it until we can move into their neighborhood. And we buy the hype. In Chicago we had a great many of hair care manufacturers that were here. Now they all sold out. Now they all gone. They've all retired, died off. But when they finally, quote unquote, made it successful, then they moved into communities and were not even reachable anymore, but yet they still
Right.
need our nappy hair, to buy their products in order to be able to keep that affluentness working for them. So
Right.
it should have been where they should have stayed where they made their money and stayed to help the people that helped make them successful. Should have been, but that's history.
Some
Yeah,
pipeline, yeah, some pipeline,
yeah.
so that, because we've been doing National Block Club University, block by block, since for 27 years. This will make 28 years this November 20th. So for 28 years, it begs to wonder how, in the third largest city in America, Chicago, how we haven't gotten more widespread support from the more elite, given the fact that we've been out here a long time. And what I always tell my out of town people, and they say, "Well, Si, what about President Obama from Chicago? You got all these big wigs who was there." And what I tell them is the gap is real. The gap is real, and that's the gap that I'm talking about. So I tell them, don't ask me. I love to work with the affluent blacks, but you have to ask them because I'm here. I've been here. So anyway, what's the latest with us? Hey, Brian, we've been really focused on Mississippi, and I think in 20 December 2018 is when I went to Mississippi and fell in love. And I started doing the research at first. What was the blackest state in America? And I wrote down the whitest states. So you had Vermont, Montana, you had Iowa, you had West Virginia. These are like 90% white states. And we didn't have one state out of 50 states that was 50% black. They got nine out of 10 people there is white. So I said, wow, what's the blackest state? And it was
Mm.
Mississippi. So I started diving in 2018 about all things Mississippi. And I'm happy to announce right now, that's what, 2 years later, 4 years later, we have from the top of Mississippi all the way down to the bottom, 108 towns in Mississippi now somewhat level one integrated to Chicago and then our 20 other cities. And our vision is to win over Black America to pour into the also the poorest state in the union, which is Mississippi. So if we're successful, what we're talking about, we're going to see the blackest state in the union, Mississippi, deporting, exporting, and importing their human capital to Chicago. So, and Chicago sending their young people down to Mississippi, especially during the summer months. With that exchange, we're going to boost our travel with purpose and economics being the root of it. So I believe personally that travel and real estate will be two of our biggest economies for the next 50 to 60 years as Black people. And that's primarily because Mississippi being the poorest state, meaning your dollar goes the furthest there than anywhere else, that if we pour into Mississippi, we can get that real estate, that land, we get our trucks moving our products, primarily agriculture back and forth. Um, all of our urban centers across the country are giving the Arab gas stations, the Asian nail salons and beauties. We got money because all these other ethnic groups are there. So if we tweak that and pour some of that money down in Mississippi, we can get this interstate commerce going. So that's been the biggest development over the last 4 years is how we took Chicago and all 20 cities and merged it into 108 small towns in Mississippi.
So now let me ask you a question. What would be the ages of these young people that you want to take into Mississippi to try to learn the agricultural trade? Because you know most teenagers, man, they ain't trying to do no work. First of all, and then second of all, they ain't trying to go no place where they ain't turning up like Miami or something like that. You know, like it's a spring
Right,
break type thing. So you know,
right,
understanding how young people think and how they look at things. You start talking about, you know, Mississippi. They like, what's in Mississippi? You know.
right. So so here we experienced at this, right? We're taking teenagers to New York, to Detroit. That's what we do with teenagers. We have this acronym WRT.
hmm
And this acronym stands for work. That's what the W is, recreation and training. And the young people know we got to do all three. You going to New York City, you got some work to do in New York City. You're gonna have fun. That's why you're going. The R is why you're going. You want recreation. That's the number one reason you're going, to have fun, but you know you got to put in some work. And then the T is training. You got to walk away knowing something you didn't know before. So with that, it creates balance. Now you're gonna get what you want, which is the fun, but you got to come back more skilled in something, and you got to do some work. So we believe that same model we use for Detroit, St. Louis, Milwaukee, New York, with the teenagers in Chicago going there, that will work in Mississippi as well. Because Mississippi would be either the W work or the training, and the recreation go be whatever we have them linked to. So a kid that want to be a lawyer, that's St. Louis, because St. Louis is our national headquarters for all lawyers. Miami is our national headquarters for all marketings and salespersons. Memphis is you, all our journalists. So that's the training, is whatever they aspire to do with their life. That's linked to a fun urban center, but you got to put in that work. And now with us being linked to Mississippi, you have to put in your work in Mississippi.
Well, you know, I just, for the record, I don't have a problem with Mississippi. I love fresh food. You know, a lot of people may not know this, but Louisiana and Mississippi are some of the best watermelons that you can get. You know,
Mm,
during the season. You know, along with Florida, of course. But you know, people, they don't understand that. You know, they just don't arrive at your grocery store.
right.
It's a process. So you have to start with the planting season, and then you,
Mm,
while it's planting, then you got to go do something else, and then come back after you have a
mhm.
product to be able to, you know,
Yeah,
put it on the trucks and get it moving, and equipment to learn, fertilizers, non-fertilizers, all of that.
right. Now, now, keep this in mind, though, Dr. Ron. What we've done with this model, um, here's a better way. Someone who may have never heard me say this before. The National Block Club University does two things primarily. Our focus is stopping the violence, but we believe you're not stopping the violence if you don't stabilize the zip code, the blocks. In stabilizing the blocks and the zip codes, we have to create interdependency. Let me say that again. In order to stop the violence, we must stabilize the neighborhood. We got to stabilize the neighborhood.
hmm
The the volatility in the neighborhood means your auntie who's out there doing stopping the violence, because it's so volatile, they steal her car. Now she can't do stop the violence because now she got to find another car. She got to, or stop the violence mean that activist son get murdered. Now he got to deal with. So it's so much volatility in Black America that whatever you think you're doing, it can change in an instant, and then you can no longer do that or be taken away from it. So stabilization is one of the key things we do. And the way you create stabilization is you got to make sure that you can put some certainty in the neighborhood. You got to get some predictability. You got to know you can predict around when you get out work, you got a place to go, a home. And so predictability is every Wednesday being economic day. 52 Wednesdays a year, you know something. So it gives you some degree of certainty. Every Thursday, health day. So as we do that, what we're really doing is creating a community where we kind of know what's happening every day. That's part of stabilization. But geography is the second thing we do. So the predictability is one. The second one is geography. we take every neighborhood and we tie it to something else. And this came from the Navy. On the Navy ship, one of the first things they teach you on the ship is you must tie down everything.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, a can of pop sitting on the shelf can kill you
Right.
if you don't tie it down. So everything must be secured, anchored to something because the ship moves. And so that's what we've done in every black neighborhood in 20 different cities and Chicago. So Austin in Chicago, the Austin neighborhood is tied down to all lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
Austin. Austin neighborhood is linked to St. Louis. So St. Louis is tied down to all the national lawyers. So by tying that down, by that being the central focus, if you're in Inglewood and you're a lawyer, you're now assigned to Chicago's Austin neighborhood because of the lawyer piece. Why do that? Because if that Inglewood lawyer continue to do his own thing, do her own thing, then there's no interdependency. I don't care about North Lawndale. I don't have no reason to go over there. And this is one of the big problems in Black America is we have too many silos. Everyone doing their own thing. No cross, no intersection, no reason to care about what someone else is doing. By anchoring 20 different zip codes to 20 different career fields, it forces us to link my husband, who's a carpenter, to the zip code managing all carpenters. My auntie, who's a nurse, to the zip code managing all the nurses. So now what we're doing is creating this intersection. And guess what criminals don't like? Guess what carjackers don't like? Guess what anyone that want to break the law don't like? They love it when you're isolated and doing your own
Mm.
thing. What they don't like is when you're talking to each other, when you sharing information, because they don't know where to strike. Do I strike him or her? Because they talking to each other. So that's what I mean when I say municipalities not even barking up the right tree, because what they're doing, the west side is getting all west side together, police. The south side caps getting all the south side people. The kids are crossing. The kids are going west side, south side, but the
Suburbs
parents are being
everywhere.
by the city. Right. They stand in a silo when they already doing this. They hit a lick over here, go over there, but they stand in their one area. You ain't even barking up the right tree because we got to do this. That way, everywhere they go, we connected.
Right. We got somebody in that area.
You can't go
Yeah. Yeah.
this.
Let me acknowledge a couple of people on the line. We got Daniel Burton. He's tuned in with us today. Joyce Green. Reginald Kelsey's on the line.
Excellent.
Paula Gilmore, Linda A. Johnson. She said, good point. Daniel mentioned, Burton said, for a good time, it was forced because of segregation. So he was talking about the separations and things that were going on before. So I just wanted to acknowledge the folks that are on the line. If you got a question that you want Syron to address, please put in a comment. I will read it, and he will address the comment while we're on the air live. Thank you guys for tuning in. So, what is and I'm sure young people in Mississippi, they're jumping up and down trying to get to Chicago to find out what's going on or what city that of their interest, because they might wind up in St. Louis, or if they want to be lawyers or something like that. So, how is the recruiting and the motivation building up in those other states and other cities that we know what they're offering, the agriculture? So if their young people, um, want to get here and turn up in Chicago, what's going to draw them? What's going to make them get in line? What's the cross networking for that?
So just so everyone know clearly, so the way it works is, Ron, you would tell me your daughter is a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
When you tell me that and she's okay with me calling her, I'm gonna let our leader on the west side, who's in charge of all the lawyers, get in touch with your daughter, and she's gonna ask her, can you connect with us on the fourth Tuesday of any month? Any month. It's always the fourth Tuesday. That's the predictability part. We know you miss this month, catch it next month. You miss, but at least we know we got you there. So that's one link. We know also that we're gonna make sure she's comfortable with us giving her contact information to St. Louis. So that's important. Now, if she's retired, it's a different conversation. If she's a retired attorney, then if she's just an adult attorney, because we have what we call rate, retirees, adults, youth, for every profession. A retired lawyer, an adult lawyer, and a young person that want to be a lawyer tells us the intergenerational linkage. So the conversation with your retired lawyer daughter is, hey, you've been there, done that. Can you carve out a little bit more time since you're retired to the young person that want to be a lawyer with mock trials, with things that deals with them learning the vocabulary of, what a moot point is, what, things of that nature. So every person, it got to be a one-on-one dialogue to find out where they are in their career, and then what role we'll ask them to play only on their once a month day. That's the predictability part. I'm real busy. It's 12 fourth Tuesdays a year. Can you do two?
Mm-hmm.
So that relaxes us. I'm busy. I get it. But just do 2 times a year. It'll be on the fourth Tuesday. So you got that predictability. And so our recruiting is when someone is shot, killed, stabbed, or raped, we look at that block, like I said, on 84th and Lafayette. We get somebody out there. We talk to anybody. Once we talk to them, we start finding out, oh, you a teacher? Okay, that's Kansas City. That's the second Tuesday. Who else you know? My auntie is this. So it's a springboard, man. It starts with as soon as we get that one piece of information, we start linking it to all the other connections, and we get them connected. They know when because we give them their day, and it just keeps going. It's a spindle, we call it. It keeps on spinning.
Mm-hmm. And then that gets people interested and drawn into the system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'm about to share right now, Dr. Ron. I hadn't shared that we're on because I want my people to see it
Okay.
too. So, but let me give you this also. So we have three Americas.
Mm-hmm.
You got rural America, suburban America, and then of course urban America. And so one of the things that I think makes us a more dynamic human being is when we're not just, knowledgeable of one. Like what experiences have you had in a diverse setting? So if you just an urbanite, you're right, you might be bored as heck in rural America. But there's pros and cons. So let's teach you how to survive in that environment just in case the food go away in the urban environment
Mm-hmm.
where you don't know how to grow your food.
Right.
So just helping people be a more dynamic human being, having all three experiences, being in the country, being in a suburban environment, and then of course if they already in one of the urban sectors in this country. So just helping all of our people get all three experiences.
Mm-hmm. So now, with the pandemic, how did that affect, the outcome of productivity and involvement through the last couple of years?
Well, money wise, we've raised more money in the last 5 years than we have the years before
Okay.
that. So on that front, we're trending in the right direction. Uh, Physically, we were door to door anyway. And so from that standpoint, when we knock on someone's door, of course, they're not going to let us in. So we engaging them through the fence. We at the bottom of the porch step is what we started doing during the pandemic. We won't stand right at the door. And then with Zoom and Skype, that made it easy. We were doing conference calls with the seniors anyway, so that hasn't impacted us as much.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, some of our old school people love the physical engagements that we had to slow down. So they're probably not as optimistic as I am because they like the physical get-togethers.
Mm-hmm. So now, let's go through the schedule of who meets. Now, I always keep up with with Buy Black Wednesday. You know that's the day. I try to do it
Yep.
more than just one day of the week, but
Yep.
let's talk about that so people get an idea of the overall
Right.
agenda and the effectiveness of this.
Yep. So I read it off. Every Sunday is Family Day. Every Sunday. Black people been doing that anyway, right? But now let's be intentional, because even though Black people been doing it all the time, Big Mama die, we don't have a wheel. But why we don't have a wheel? I mean, we all been getting together on Sunday Family Day anyway. Now that puts some more emphasis, since we saying nationwide, globally, Sunday Family Day, let's get those ducks in order. So that's Sunday. Also, family members you don't talk to no more. Well, hey, we got 52 Sundays? Can we work on bridging at least one gap between you and a family member you don't get along with? Monday, safety day. Monday, safety day. When I hear about a home fire and it wasn't a working smoke alarm, I think about 52 Mondays that we miss getting them to pay attention to Monday, check your smoke alarm. Uh, when people catch a flat and they don't have a spare tire in them, I think about 52 Mondays from a safety standpoint that you got what you need in the car in case of a flat tire. Uh, Checking the registered sex offenders in your zip code. You got 52 Mondays. So Monday just, again, creates a set aside time where we could be intentional to make sure that we're as safe as we can be. Tuesday, education day. The key on that front is, and especially for our black males, um, I hate to sound like this, but if black people don't like being embarrassed, no one does, but black men in particular. So if I'm struggling with algebra and I don't want to ask the question and get embarrassed, I might slowly disengage from that whole academic process. Next thing you know, I dropped out. Well, guess what? It's easy for me to ask and get tutored from someone that don't go to my school, because then they not go mock me and make fun of me. So every Tuesday being education day, what subject is your kid struggling in?
Mm.
What subject is your daughter excellent in? So now in that zip code, let's put together in every zip code who the stars in algebra, who's the stars in English, who's the stars in whatever, so that we can get that integration happening outside of the school structure so that the kid's not embarrassed. So Tuesday is that day. Wednesday, your day, economic day. So when we talk about we are $2 trillion people, richer than 41 nations in the world, and that's why all other ethnic groups are in our neighborhood just eating. They ain't eating because they love us. They eating because there's money to be made, and unfortunately, you know, we let reasons that we shouldn't cause us to not spend money with each other. Well, because every Wednesday is 4 Wednesdays a month, we literally have someone that call around and ask you to name 4 black businesses you spent money with each month. And when you can't name 4, it's called the Name Your 4 campaign. You can look in the mirror and know you're directly contributing to the demise of what we're going
All
through.
right.
Because Chinatown, Greek Town, Little Italy, Ukrainian village, Lithuanian village, Dutch village, all over this country, they can name more than 20. If we can't name 4, it's 30 days. 4, money is like blood. Blood must circulate. If you don't circulate that blood, you get blood clot. You can die from blood clot. Our money is our voice and our blood. If it's not circulating, it's just a matter of time. So we directly attribute our circulation of our money to blood, and it got to circulate. So Wednesday give us 52 times a year, 4 times a month. And if you can't name 4, just do better. Hopefully next month you do 4. We've even had to do this, Ron. We said we're going to pick 4 industries each month, and if nothing else, just send them $5, even if you don't get the product. So $20, but at least you can name your 4. $5, $5, $5, $5 to 4 different
Right.
businesses in your neighborhood or just online. But just as a black person, being personally committed to other black people who are taking the risk and sacrificing something, that we find a way to put some seeds into what they do. That's Wednesday. Every Thursday, health day. That's a big deal. All these dialysis centers all over Black America, for-profit medicine, people making money off of this. Our diet being, unfortunately, part of what is making other people profits off of. So we talking alkaline water. We talking about eating raw garlic. We talking about working out, stretching, just doing anything you can to be a little bit more healthier than you were the Thursday before that. Every Friday, Senior Citizens Day. There's a gap. There's a big gap between our elders and our young people. What Friday allow us to bridge that gap. We challenge the young people with the WRT, part of their work. Go cut that grass for free for that senior on Friday. Go to the store for that senior on Friday. Do something to show love on Friday to a senior, so that the elders have a reason to connect and make that neighborhood stronger. And then Saturday we reverse that, and now we saying to the elders, hey, Saturday Youth Day, let's pour into that young person having the money to go to Mississippi, to Detroit, to St. Louis, so that they can keep growing. You know what's crazy, Ron? You think about the carjackers of today, how young they are. Some of them 10 years old, 12 years old. If you 12, if you 10, that means you was born in 2010.
That's right.
Like
That's
2010,
right.
you ain't experienced a lot. You ain't been a lot of places. You might as well be empty headed. And so the more we can let you travel and put other things in your head, then you know it's more out there in the world than what you've been exposed to, probably in your urban setting only. So that's what Saturday is. So those are the 7 daily living habits that we think, again, there's no leader. It's not ours. It's just a way we can be coordinated without no organization or leader telling us what to do. It's just us in agreement as a people.
Yeah. Now, something that I always think is important to emphasize, especially after you talk about all that you have done and all that you're doing, and you do all these things with a contribution of $12 a year from every person who wants to support what you're doing. That's $1 a month. So
Yeah.
the contributions come in, and you're able to spread that funds throughout the community. No government programs. You ain't writing no grants. You ain't got nobody writing no
Mm-hmm.
grants. And you're doing all of these things that you're doing out of the love of the community. So, I always like to emphasize that fact. How you solicit people. I don't know if that's the right word, but you get people to support. $12. That ain't a whole lot. You know.
It's 48 quarters to make it sound even better. It's 48 quarters a year.
Hmm.
Just so but here's the way we see the money part. And I tell people right now, if whatever we're doing does not contain circulation of money, we're at a disadvantage in whatever we're talking about. Money is critical because, again, the blood piece, not just that. The reason slavery took place was because of what? Money. You know what I mean? The prison system, the fact that we lock up more people than anyone else in the world. Why is that? Money. Control is the secondary part, because first the money, the control is so you can keep getting the money the way you're getting it. So when black people aren't talking about how we can circulate our money with each other, to me, again, we barking up the wrong tree. You can do whatever you want to do, but if that revenue isn't there, even spiritual people, if the revenue wasn't important, that collection plate won't go around. You know what I mean? So the key is that we got to look at this money as part of that ultimate dynamic to make sure that we're circulating it around. I see Sister Linda asked, what is it we trying to do? I love to look at it, brand it this way. There's 46 million black people in this country based on the last census. We're the largest racial group in the United States. And the key to that, and some people don't believe it, they say, what about the Hispanics? We're talking racial group, us. We're not talking about the Mexican Americans that's a part of the Hispanic community. We're talking about racial. And there's 46 million of us. The next largest group is the German Americans, 43 million. So we're 3 million more based on the census that we know is undercounting than the next largest racial group in this country, which is the German Americans. And then it's the Mexican Americans at 37 million. Then it's the Italian Americans. This month is their month with Irish, with St. Patrick's Day at 32 million. So you got 46 million, 43 million, 37 million, and then 32 million. That's the largest four groups in this country. Why does that matter, Dr. Ron? We're the largest racial group, and as I said earlier, what do we have to show for that? Like, what do we got? A national bank? Do we got a national trucking line? Do we have, like, what do we have for the largest group? But what we know is that everyone else eats off of us. Everyone else eats off of us. And what pains me, you look at the global seven richest economies, the G7. They meet every June. The G7. Africa is the reason seven of them are
Yep.
rich. Africa isn't a part of the
Nope.
G7.
Nope. They're not.
Ain't that
That's
something?
that's deep right there.
So it's critical that blacks recognize that globally that the world needs to keep us right where we're at because we're feeding the whole world, Africans and African Americans. The G20, they brought in the other 13 countries. Mexico is a part of the G20. Africa, only South Africa is the only place in Africa in the G20. And what's sad about that, South Africa, if you know, the whites 1% rule South
That's
Africa.
right. Yep.
So we got to come together, Dr. Ryan, and pulling that dollar together is the key. Because if we can't agree on 4 quarters a month, if we can't agree on $1, what the heck will we agree on? Like even the 46 million of us here, that's doctors, teachers, lawyers, judges. That's everything that we got a day set aside for. Doctors, third Saturday, lawyers for. So whatever you are, if you don't release the dollar, what you're saying is this isn't worth that. I don't like you. I don't agree with you, but it's a dollar. It's a dollar. We kept it at a dollar for 27 years on purpose because it's a gauge. It's our temperature check. We can see where people at if they go be that upset that they won't do a dollar. So that's why we keep it right there, Dr. Ron, because it allows us to gauge where we at and look at every zip code, see, oh, they won't, okay, they won't pull the money together. They mad. But why you mad? G7 is coming. Second Saturday in June, they go meet and talk about how to get more raw materials from Africa, how to make sure when the G20 meet, how to give Mexico more jobs, and they move in your neighborhood with the support from the global community. And we over here mad, we got a global structure, we won't even put a dollar into it. So it's heavy,
Oh
man.
yeah, definitely. I see Linda asked a question. Can you put contact information in the chat? Syron's organization is listed right underneath his name there, National Block Club University.com. If you go there, you can see all of this information that he has been telling us about his monthly plan, his weekly plan, his statistics, and I tell you, God put us together, and I can't even remember how we met, but we've been kicking it for quite a long time now. Like I said, 15, 16, maybe even 17 years now, because he's been coming on my show for quite a while, and
In Woodlawn, that's when I first came on the
yep,
show in
yep,
Woodlawn,
yep,
remember?
over there on 63rd Street. Yep. And I tell you, every time he came on the show, he's always um, left us with gold nuggets. Now I know you have an unusual organizational structure, and I think sometimes people get confused with your organizational structure. Now, when I mean structure, I mean the titles of people. Okay,
Right.
so like on each block, you have a governor and a this and a that. So you explain that so people, when they hear things, they don't get confused.
Right. So we do block by block, not block clubs. There's a key distinction. We do block by block, not block clubs. We will help you create a block club, but to us, block clubs are on the downward trend. Block clubs are on the downward trend. It's like old school because it deals with a lot of structure and order. And our younger generation, that kind of runs parallel to them. I mean, that runs against what they like doing. We believe that if we go block by block, we can get the census done. How many people on the block, how many seniors, how many carpenters, how many teachers, how many third graders, fifth graders, what they love to do. So we go block by block doing the inventory of human capital. That's what we do. In doing that, what we have is governors. That's the title. That's the highest ranking person of the zip code. We go by zip codes. So there's a governor for Woodlawn, Claudette Reddick. There's a governor of South Shore, Rachel Lindsay. There's a governor of Auburn Gresham, Francis Newman. And those governors, their main job is to stay connected with the sister city. So Francis stays in touch with the leader inside of Norfolk, Virginia. Claudette stays in touch of Woodlawn with the leader of Milwaukee because Milwaukee is linked to her zip code. So when it's time for them to travel, for young people to travel, they already, because of the governor, have a relationship in that sister city. At the local level, we have district leaders. The purpose of the district leader is to take pressure off the governor. The governor is dealing with the sister city and the country in Africa. The district leader deals with the neighborhood. and the district leaders have mayors. The mayor is over a 16 block area. This is where the real change is happening because we have neighbors on the same block, Dr. Ron, who don't know each other. So it is the district leader and the mayor's role to work block by block to make sure that the neighbors are coordinating, synchronized, and maximizing each other's talents and gifts at the local level. And when they need to get away, as Southwest Airlines say, want to get away, that's when they tap into their governor and they can get away. And so that's the best way of describing it. At the block level, it's the mayor. The mayor got support of the district leader, and the district leader taps into the governor. The governor stays connected to the U.S. city, sister city, and the country in Africa. So I know I just confused the heck out of
No, no,
everybody,
no.
but
But
that's what it
that's a
is.
good, that was a very good analogy, and they can see all that information on the website. The
Yes.
definitions of who does what. Now, in most of the zip codes that you have people in, they're already functional. They've been
Mm-hmm.
effective. I've had some of those people on my show that you mentioned a little while ago, like Miss Redding. I haven't seen her in God knows how long. When you mentioned her name, I was like, oh wow, Claudette, yeah. And Frances, I know she's all over the place too. So some of those
Mm-hmm.
folks that I have had interaction with have had the opportunity to be on my show, because I believe in supporting, communities and community leaders like yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and like you said, you've been doing this for 27 years, man. That's 27 years, man. That's a lot of work, you know.
You see that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know where this calls from, yeah, dealing with us, you know. Um, so what, people that are just getting exposed to this, what would be their first steps plan of action that they would need to do? I know first of all get in contact. I know that, but what would you give them a step by step plan of action?
Yep, yep, yep. So the first thing is whenever we come in contact with you, every day we know the schedule, you would know the schedule. So today, every fourth Tuesday is our third graders day as well. So when we talk to you, we're going to be listening for what's your household inventory, husband, wife, children, grandmama live on the west side. And as you tell us that information, we're going to start linking you with the dates for every one of those topics. Your husband's a carpenter, fourth Monday. Your cousin in Detroit, we're gonna tell them the fourth Monday. So we're gonna give you, you'll walk away with a sheet of paper with all these dates on there, and of course our phone number. And what should happen next is whatever you're working on. Let's say for instance you're doing a fundraiser, on May 15th. We're gonna look and see who we have on duty May 15th, and we're gonna link you with them so they can support you. So you will get immediate support when we connect because every day we have people on duty. It's a different person on duty. It's a different guaranteed audience every single day. So we just plug in what you have going on with the days we have people already set aside for their once a month duty. So that's it's all about one-on-one conversation. I tell people when they get us in a group, that's difficult because each household is different. You're a three-person household, it's a five-person household, it's a retiree household. It's gonna tap into all these different areas that we have relationships in.
Hmm. So reach out to the website. I can't emphasize it enough. Get a chance to reach out to Syron. Do you still answer your own phone, or you still got people?
Yeah, yeah. You could have put my number there,
Give it to
312
them. Give it to them.
405 8844. That's 312 area code 405 8844.
Okay, and you gonna answer your own phone.
Oh, yeah. You text me, call me. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I'm always on Zoom, so I might have to call you right back. But just once you call me, I'll be getting back in touch with you.
Yeah, and I'm a witness to that because when I call him, if he don't answer, he will get back to me. So he's not trying to duck and hide from nobody. He's been doing this for a long time, and there is a success story associated with this, man.
Oh, my God.
And I know
Yeah.
sometimes people say, "Well, how come we ain't never heard of this?" Well, because you ain't,
On purpose.
yeah. Uh,
No, no, but that's wrong. People say that all the time. we are the frame of your car. When you go to buy a car, you don't get on the ground and look at the frames. Let me see what that frame look like. you, but that car is held together because of the frame. We intentionally don't promote to the public. You don't see us doing news conferences, press conferences for what? We got total access to you who can make one phone call, connect us. We could be busy forever just with word of mouth. So we don't need to do that. But we are connected via real people being connected person by person all over the world.
Yep, definitely. And he definitely makes an appearance here from time to time. And it was so amazing when I talked to him about a month ago. I said, "Hey, man, you ready to come back on my show?" "Yeah, when? What time?" So he enjoys coming out. That's a good thing. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
Dr. Ron, I told you, as we get the infrastructure stronger, the financial one, we're going to be able to send out a text to 1,000 people and say, send $1 to Dr. Ron right now. And that $1,000 go ping to your phone. That's what's getting ready to happen. We're synchronizing our layers of support to where we calling it the bazooka. We can point the bazooka at you. Bingo.
Hey, man, I'm looking forward to that day. Now I got to
Yep.
talk about a story, an experience you and I had together. No,
Uh
it was a good one. You called me up one day and scheduled an event, you and I, and the topic was fishing.
oh,
You
yep.
know, and
Mm-hmm.
and you say, well, can you have a conversation about fishing? I said, can I have a conversation about fishing?
I was surprised. Yeah. Yep. You did well. That's on the website.
I was like, yes,
Mhm.
sir. Let's talk. And
Yeah.
man, we talked, and I went back down memory lane, and man,
Yeah.
we had a wonderful conversation about fishing because
Yep.
fishing was such a fond memory that I was
Mm-hmm.
able to share experiences that I hope benefited some folks over time. You know,
It still is now. It's on the website, the fishing convention. Yeah, that yeah.
okay, all right, that was a beautiful thing. Well, look, man, we got to get ready to get out of here because I know you got another event coming up in a minute. I always ask this question of every guest that comes on the show: will you come back and see me again?
Yeah, right. You already know. So yeah, right,
Okay.
right. Of
And
course.
then, what would you like to leave with the people before you get out of here today?
Despite what it looks like for us, to me, black people are in one of our strongest positions. And we just got to keep hope alive, as Jesse say, and we're going to walk across the finish line of us being coordinated, supporting, loving each other, traveling, and keeping our dollars as close as possible amongst ourselves.
Outstanding. Give them that phone number one more time.
312 area code 405-8844. 312-405-8844. Thank you.
Man, I cannot thank you enough. We'll have some more updates on things as they come along in the future. We'll bring you back and keep us updated on what's going on in the future. You stay right there. Don't go anywhere. Let me throw some information up on the screen. I want to invite everybody to come out and hang out with me on Thursday on Facebook and YouTube. We have a show on Street News Now, Six Guys and You, each and every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please come and join us on that show. I tell you, we find grown folks having grown folks conversation, and I tell you, we chop it up and we talk about every subject that you can imagine. I tell you, we have good conversation over there. I've got a new show coming out on this Saturday. Every Saturday at 12 noon Central Standard Time from the desk of Dr. Ron. We have people that have been reaching out to me on a regular basis, asking me questions, and now I'm going to go on YouTube and answer those questions publicly so people will be able to tap the brain of Dr. Ron. Be very afraid. Okay. Now, if you want to make contributions and support what we do here, this is all of my information here where you can make contributions. Please go over to my website, ask-dr-ron.com. Please support all of my advertisers. Support them. They make it possible for us to do what we do. You can make contributions, and for all those people that have made contributions, I want to thank you. Keep up the good work. You can also go at the top, click on all of my social media, become a friend, send me a friend request, and you can keep up what's going on. Please go over to my YouTube channel, subscribe, like, and share. Hit the notification notice, and definitely support what we got going on. I want to thank you guys for supporting what we do here. I look forward to seeing you all on Thursday, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace and love.